you have created something that AI definitely will never and can never replace.
The copy that went with that graphic also said, great people, great services, no knobs, and over 100 business professionals all posted that on their LinkedIn profile.
Lea, just before we started, you just said that you just got over 100 business owners to post a picture of a knob.
Not
actually a picture of a knob.
The word knobs.
Word knobs.
But the graphic that we sent to everyone to promote the directory had the word in bright pink, like a bright pink rectangle, and it said knobs on it, or no knobs. And then the copy that went with that graphic also said, like, great people, great services, no knobs, and over 100 business professionals all posted that on their LinkedIn profile to promote our directory. I was like, who can do that?
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Such a child.
The thing is, obviously, I posted as well to say that I joined the directory, and I think it's an amazing thing. We'll get into a little bit more about the Holt in a minute, but I just think it's amazing that you ask people, if you're in the directory, please share that you're in the directory, and literally everyone just went crazy. And my entire LinkedIn feed on Tuesday was just full of I'm in the directory. Lea, let's wind back a little bit, because before we get in and talk about the Holt, I want to ask you, because I know you've got a bit of an ADHD brain, a bit like me. Is it true that you can type as fast as you can think?
No,
but you're a really speedy typer though, right?
Yeah, I can type at 120 words a minute.
Wow. You can think faster though, right?
The average is like 40 to 60.
That's nuts.
Yeah, but I did 10 years of transcription.
Wow.
So that was literally my business before the LinkedIn training and the community stuff was transcribing. So I was paid to type medical reports and home buyers reports for building surveyors. I did a lot of copy typing for people that wanted like handwritten stuff or pre-printed stuff turned into documents. So that was my job. So I would have a pair of headphones on and a pedal under the desk. So I'd start and stop the audio with my foot, and I would just type along to whatever they said and then proofread it.
Wow.
It was incredibly boring. Some of the stuff I worked on was soul-destroyingly dull. Like, imagine doing 4-hour focus groups where you've got 6 different people speaking about motorway service stations. Like, wow. Honestly, I did not want to be here by the end of each of those. It was unbelievably dull.
Out of curiosity, have you got a favourite motorway service station?
I do not. The ones where the toilets are close to the doors.
Oh, right. Mine's Gloucester.
I hate that they make it was actually came up in one of those focus groups. Like, they make you walk past all of those shops, and you're doing when you're a woman and you needed to go for a few hours and you're like, oh my God, and you zoom in past all the shops just to get to the toilet. Like, put the toilets near the front, because we're desperate. So
I'm a service station roulette kind of guy. I'm like, oh, it says 1 in 17 miles, 1 in 3. I'm going for the 1 in 17, even knowing full well I need to go for a wee. I'm like, I'll go, and then I'm the guy that runs across.
Play chicken with your bladder.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't even. Do you think people even do that touch typing thing now? Is that even a thing still? Do you reckon?
I had this conversation with a friend the other day. It was very serendipitous, the timing, because there's nowhere near as much demand for it now because AI is so good. Mm-hmm. So the job for me would have shifted from creating, like typing them myself, to checking them and editing them. So it was very good that I got out of it when I did. And I'm very glad that I did, because my business would have been decimated, because so many of them just use apps now that they dictate straight into the templates that they use. Mm-hmm. And the AI to correct it. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know this from the podcast, that I can download the transcription, and literally the only thing that I really have to worry about most of all is because it's an American company, is S's and Z's or Z's. Yeah. And I just think the technology is amazing. The reason I asked you about that is because, knowing full well what you used to do and what you do now with the Holt and the community, I personally think, with what you've created, you have created something that AI definitely will never and can never replace.
No, AI is amazing at assisting us with the community, but it will. I think I was pondering this the other day as well. I was like, so many people talking about AI, and their jobs have been taken by AI. That is why people want a human community, a community with people genuinely having real conversations, genuinely typing their own answers. And it's not all like, you don't see content in the Holt that is written by AI. Maybe if someone's like posting a promo thing, but you're not having people commenting in reply to posts in there about with AI, because people are there to make human connections, which they need, because we're all isolated, lonely, and we're sick and tired of seeing AI. Like, you see so much of it on LinkedIn now, and in the comment sections, in the content, you're like, am I speaking to a human? Am I speaking to the human's VA or the AI bot that's just programmed to comment on all of these posts? I don't know who I'm speaking to, but you're speaking to a real human. And you have those community calls and the speed networking and the in-person events, because we're craving human connection now, which we're not getting even in the places we used to get them. We're seeing AI replace people. Yeah, I do feel like some sort of serendipity has happened in that AI has stolen my job, so I've inadvertently created something that now AI can't steal my job. Obviously we use it to support us, but certainly never replace us.
Yeah, exactly. I think personally that's the key, isn't it? It's using it to support you in your business. I think it's amazing for so many things.
Yeah.
What you said there was interesting as well. There's lots of people kind of working from home still after coronial times. But you're not just doing the online thing. Like you create this. I don't even know what it is you've created, because even there's even events that I've been to that you haven't been to, and I know we've got a local networking group with the Holt in my local area. You're not even there, but it's still the vibe. It's still everything's there, and it's like something you've created.
It's the same, even though I'm not there. That's good.
I mean, obviously, the jokes aren't as funny. I'm not going to lie. No, I'm joking. But no, like, it's still the vibe, and everyone's still there. It's not like you're going to a networking event where you don't know anyone. I walked into a room in Exeter, into a hotel in Exeter, where I was the only guy. There were 5 other ladies, I think it was. And we just walked into this room, and it's like we all knew each other because of what you'd created in this online space. And there's something that you say quite often, and it's like, it's the stuff that you don't know about and the connections that are made outside of the whole. I mean, I've got, maybe 6, 7 podcast guests have been on my podcast through the Holt. And that's not just because I've gone, oh, can anyone join my podcast? Apart from, a couple of people that have come in. I mean, I got you booked into the podcast in May last year, and then we've had to reschedule. But do you know what I mean? I think it's not just what you create online. And for me, the community calls, and you'll know this, that they're just such a great way to end the week. I sometimes wish they were all in person, but obviously I've sat there on a call with someone in South Africa, someone in America, Spain, Portugal, you name it, and we're sitting there going we couldn't all meet up on the same day like this. It's an amazing thing that you've created, and I really love it.
Thank you.
Was that ever your plan to create that? Because obviously we talked about how AI potentially has taken away your old job, but what was your initial thought with setting up the Holt?
So it initially came from the fact that I was doing all this LinkedIn training with people, and I was thinking, right, I can teach you how to market yourself on LinkedIn, but to convert a client from just finding out you exist on LinkedIn to actually knowing you well enough to trust you and hire you can be quite a lengthy process. It can be 6 months plus. Not always the case. If you just happen to show up at the right time in the right place, boom, you're hired. But especially for the higher ticket offers, it takes a while for that trust to build. So really what I needed they need teaching is how to build a website, how to create a marketing funnel, how to sell, how to close on calls, how to create a package, how to be sort of do email marketing. There's all these other things that would shorten that sort of discovery to hiring lifespan. And I thought, well, I can't teach them how to do that. And I'm chronic in wanting to help people and support people. And it breaks my heart when I see people trying and doing all the right things, but then they're not getting the business that they deserve, because then they're not doing the other things. But they don't have the money to be able to pay for copywriting training, for sales training, for all of these different sorts of training that they need, because they can't afford to outsource it yet either. So it's like, there's something in this. I know the people that can teach this because they've paid me for training. So I know people that are really good at these things, and I know people that need to be really good at these things. So why don't I be the person in the middle? And I know that people are going to want to deliver masterclasses for me, because they're always asking me to be on podcasts, do masterclasses for their communities, their groups, whatever. It's like, loads of people owe me a favor. Loads of people need to learn things that I can't teach them, but I know people that can, that I trust. So I just decided to be the person in the middle and do it in a very affordable way, because that's the biggest barrier, is that people need to learn this stuff, but they can't be buying $300 courses all over the place, and they don't have time to learn and implement them anyway, right? And it wasn't working. The system wasn't working. So I thought, well, if I create the masterclasses with somebody and record them and just start building this library of resources that people have all access to, no matter when they join. They can join today and still get the masterclasses we did 3 years ago. They're not always going to be completely up to date, obviously, and we do have to revisit some subjects that sort of expire. But you're giving people an incredibly valuable resource. And then I think the people side of it really just evolved. At first, it was very much, the LinkedIn training that I was doing within it, the masterclasses from other people, content ideas. That was what it was at first. And then a community where people were always like very chatty in there. But then when we moved to Heartbeat as the app that we use, that it became so much easier for people to navigate everything and find all the resources in one place, and for me to actually run it. And we've had like a surge of new members, and I stopped doing my LinkedIn training at the end of 2024 and went all in on the community. And that's been the real thing that's probably spurred it on, not in terms of size, but in terms of depth of what, because I'm in it all the time and I'm seeing what people need and I'm finding solutions, and I'm sat there on the floor with everyone in the messy middle of the business going, right, what can I see we need to make?
But you're like a chatbot that's actually real in the whole. You genuinely are, because I've seen you replying on stuff at like, I know you value your time with your son as well, so that's a really important thing. But I know for a fact that like if you see a notification that's something that you think, oh, I know someone, or I know, and you'll tag someone in, and I think it was only yesterday, I think there was a tag in about for coaches, and I was like, oh, what's this then? And it's like, so it's amazing like what you've got in there and the support that you give everyone. If you could kind of like wind back to like when you first started the Holt, then was there anything that you personally were missing back then as a business owner? Because you work solely mainly on your own with your business.
I've got a massive team now, but everyone's freelance.
Yeah.
So I use services when I need them, and my team, no one's working full time, but it's just on demand kind of situation. I think the only thing that I would have. Do you mean in terms of like what I needed for the community? What?
No, I mean, I think like as a solo business owner back then, before you had the Holt, was there something that you were missing?
Yeah, company.
Yeah,
that was the biggest thing. Like I was surrounded. Yes, don't get me wrong. I had a big network on LinkedIn and I made friends through that, and that was lovely. But if I needed a recommendation, I didn't want to post it on LinkedIn because I'd have like 1,000 people in my DMs pitching. So I was like, I need people that I can trust. And I got burned by people that I hired thinking they'd be good and they weren't, because I'd taken a chance I don't really know who else. And they bombarded me with their exciting ideas, but actually, like, they weren't as good as I thought. And I think, like, having people around me to share that journey more, not so much when I was doing like the LinkedIn training, because obviously I was surrounded by people and I had so many followers and I'd made loads of friends on there. But before that, when I was well, I'm still a solo mum, but when I was sat at home typing all day on my own, and I realized, like, I have no marketing budget. And when I started doing the LinkedIn training and immersing myself in LinkedIn, I was like, my God, I had no idea about any of this stuff. And there are loads of people like me when I started my transcription business that are utterly clueless about all of the other stuff around. They're so good at delivering the service that they offer.
Yeah.
And I know you'll relate to this. You are spectacular at delivering the thing that you do. But it's all the other stuff that, if you've worked in a job, especially, you don't know about how to keep your books because you didn't work in the finance department. You don't know how to market yourself because you weren't working in marketing. So how are you've got all of these new skills and you're like, shit. And I didn't have access to anything. And I'd never run a business. And I had no idea even what marketing was beyond seeing adverts on TV. And so when I started posting on LinkedIn and all these people were around me and talking about things, I was like, oh my God, this is like a whole new world. And I was absorbing it all like a sponge. And I'm a neurodivergent person. I see patterns when they emerge. And I was like, there's something emerging in my head. And it sort of bubbled under the surface for about a year. And I started thinking,
Wow,
there's a gap. Yeah, after about 6 months, I started actually working on creating it. But then I started being a little bit, I say I'm not strategic, but I think I am strategic without realizing I'm being strategic. But I started thinking, like, I'm currently LinkedIn training, which is exchanging time for money. And I created a digital resource. My digital course was selling really well. But ultimately, I was like, I'm still selling my time for money. And
yeah.
I can't scale that. And people said, oh, well, you could franchise it. You could have a train the trainer academy. You could do all this. I was like, nah, don't want any of that. Like, that's not me. That sounds like a headache, having to quality control other people's work all the time. And I don't want a business that relies on LinkedIn
Yeah.
because, you don't know what's going to happen with it. And as you can see, like, the algorithm, the reach on everything, they're moving towards like paid and promo stuff. So the Holt really strategically was something that I could grow that eventually won't need me as the face of it. Eventually the natural leaders within the community become faces of it. The team become faces of it. Backdoor Barry becomes, which makes no sense if you're not aware of the brand.
I
But
think you should explain who Backdoor Barry is.
but yeah, that was the kind of, like, I can grow the Holt beyond just me, and so it can be a brand in and of itself, and it has so many potential offshoots that we could create from it. But Lea Turner's LinkedIn training is so limited, and like I felt like I reached as far as I could go with the LinkedIn training, and
Yeah.
the Holt had so much more potential for me to learn more challenges, more exciting things, and more impact. Like, that's the bit that really lights me up more than anything else, is seeing when people say, oh, I met up with such and such today, and we're collaborating on this, and we're going to do this, and had a really great time at this event with this person. So glad I met them through the Holt. And I'm like, oh, that's the bit that, like, I get up in the morning for and get excited about.
I literally cannot resonate enough with that, because I remember, probably 10 years ago, being like unbelievably busy to the point that I don't have any more hours left, and I'm
Yeah.
at my peak in my business. And the only option I had was either I start employing people to do what, because they're working with me because they want to work with Lea, right, in this moment, because Lea's LinkedIn training. And as my photography and video business was growing, I got to the point where I was like, I'm out, I'm done, I've got no energy left, I've got no hours left, and all I'm doing is just time for money. And time for money for me was the biggest shift with my business.
Yeah.
Biggest shift.
It does make a huge difference. Like, now with the Holt being a subscription model, there's, as long as we keep member numbers to a certain number, I know that everything's covered. And then obviously we've got other streams of income that come in via the brand as well, which sort of keeps us ticking over very handsomely. And you just, like, that switch as well, it takes the pressure off me,
Mhm.
because I'm not thinking, oh, I need to work 10 more hours today, or I need to do another 3-hour coaching session to make X amount of money. And not every single minute of my day has a monetary value attached to it, because that's
Yeah.
not like, if I want to have a slower couple of weeks, I know that I'm still getting those membership fees at the end of the month. That's
Yeah.
not going to change. I might not
No.
increase,
Mhm.
but that's not the priority at all. So, yeah, that was a big switch for me. Like, coming away from time for money definitely has been, not that I still don't occasionally do it, as we just mentioned, like I will sometimes, but it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of money for that time. So it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? There's been times where I've done exactly the same, where I'm just like, okie dokie. Like you can't, I can't. I mean, yeah, I can't earn that much money in an hour doing that particular job. But if you're going to pay me that to do that in an hour, I'll do it.
Yeah, there's definitely like numbers that you go, yeah, go on then.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly,
I
exactly.
twist my arm.
Yeah. So what I love about all of this, Leah, as well, is the fact that, I mean, I've been in the Holt now, and I genuinely, I'm not going to put myself on some kind of list of stalkers, but I genuinely have seen you on LinkedIn for years. And I got, oh yeah, oh, I've missed a month. Oh, well, maybe I'll join next month. I'll join next month. And then when I joined, I remember, so I'm coming up to my first 1 year anniversary. So I'm sort of thinking, like, is there a party? Do I get a badge? Like, what happens? Do I get a special hat? I don't know. But after a year, I'm genuinely like, I would never leave this community. And the reason being is because when I walked into it, I didn't feel like I was like, oh my God, this is quite nerve-wracking. The first call I went on, I was like, I'm like, oh my God, I recognize loads of people in here. And it was almost like a lot of people that I was already connected with as well. But the thing that I love about it is the fact that, and we talk about subscriptions and stuff like that. And I've cancelled Netflix, I've cancelled Apple TV, Audible, all of those things over the years, re-engaged in them. But this to me is almost become the non-negotiable that I would cancel, because it's like, it's almost like, for me, it's almost like the electricity and gas of my business. Because if I don't have those community calls on a Friday, I don't get to connect with the people who would, I've got my own clients, and that's fine. And I can work with people one-to-one, and I get to work with people in group scenarios. But when I get to work with other business owners who are like me, doing similar sort of things, and you know what, Leah, 99% of the time on the community call, we don't always talk about business. 99% of the time, we're talking about Damien's Donuts and, all sorts of random things that you just think to yourself.
But you need it, because it's not
Exactly.
about, yes, we do sometimes talk about business, and we will have conversations about things that people need to talk about. But one of the things that I learned so much especially on LinkedIn, is the more human I was, the more powerful the connections became with the people around me. The more honest and authentic that I was in the conversations that I was starting, the posts that I was putting out, the closer people were drawn to me. And the more they trusted me, and that trust translated into making unreasonable amounts of money in the businesses, because people told everyone about me. And so when I then turned it into a community, I transferred that trust into a lower cost offer where people could be with me and other people that also liked me, and sort of, I was the one thing that everybody had in common. But it's not just me, it's my values, it's my sense of humor, it's my my sense of like whimsy and not taking myself too seriously. Like, people were drawn into that, and then they felt like if I was a bit of a goofball that was figuring it out and in the messy middle, it's okay for them to be as well. And so people stopped pretending. And so when you get on a community call in the Holt with people, or you come to a speed networking, or you go to an event, you get a whole load of people unmasked who feel, I'm not saying absolutely everybody, because of course there's a huge range of neurodivergence within the community, but people feel a lot more comfortable in our environment than nearly any other environment they ever go in. And that people flourish when you give people a place to belong, where they don't have to fake it, where they're okay to ask the questions that they think are silly and get kind, helpful, generous answers that aren't judging them or making them feel small or stupid or unprofessional or incapable. you literally watch them bloom, and that raises their confidence. It raises their motivation and their ambition, and they start genuinely believing in themselves. And I see people in the Holt doing that for each other every single day, multiple times a day. Like Simon put a post in there at the beginning of the week offering.
Oh, Simon's next week's guest.
I love
it's exciting,
Simon.
isn't it?
It's amazing. So he put an offer in the Holt to for I think 3 hours a week of free sessions for Holt members.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I think he said, throughout January. And then that started a snowball effect. And other people went, yeah, I can donate that, actually. I'll volunteer some time to help other Holt members. And then someone else that offered her course to help people navigating divorce and family separations. Someone else did one on Fanny Physio, Kirsty.
Yeah, I saw that.
Who does like pelvic floor physiotherapy and everything with that sort of area. And there was just like this snowball effect of people's generosity. Glenn offered personal training sessions. And I'm like, that's amazing. You see that kindness ripple, but the kindness ripple doesn't ever stop in the whole. It's just this permanent ripple happening. And that sounds so corny, but it's true. And I think the biggest thing I hear from people who join, they go, I didn't join because, it all sounded a little bit too good to be true. And then I did join and it exceeded my expectation. It actually is that good because I thought it can't be that good. Like, it can't be. Like, no, it is. And they just sort of scroll through the wins channel, the advice channel, the gratitude channel. They go, holy shit.
My favorite one is the rant channel.
Yeah.
Not to mention the pet channel, because I've got dogs and I'm a massive dog lover, but the rant channel for me is amazing because sometimes I will read the rant and go, oh, fuck, that happened to me and that pissed me off as well. Because it's like, in business, sometimes it is just like someone just said it, Yeah.
It does feel like obviously for me it feels like, but I've heard it from other people regularly that they feel like it is a safe space. Now, I know no space can be truly completely safe for everybody. We obviously do our best to make it as safe as possible for everybody. Mm-hmm. But that is the thing that comes through. And when we did our rebrand and Kaylee Lloyd from the Holt did some interviews and surveys with people, that was the thing that came through the most. The words like family and safe and belonging, that came through. Support, generous, like those were the words that came through the most with everything. And that was what my head started percolating ideas. And I was like, I then had some interviews with members at the beginning of 2025. I think I had like 30 interviews with members that range from being in since the beginning to like they'd only been in 3 months. And I asked them, like, what keeps you here? And they all said the people. And I went, we're not focusing enough on the people. Like, in our marketing, we are in the community, but we're not talking about it enough in the marketing. We're focusing on like the masterclasses and the value. But actually, the biggest value is the people. Because
I have to agree because there's people. When I joined, I am a serial consumer. I was like masterclass. Shout out to Alex Thompson, my favorite masterclass so far. That guy is fire. I'm not joking. Email
when
marketing
he's sober.
When he's sober, he's a bloody good dancer. When he's drunk, I tell you. I'm gonna have to cut that out. But I honestly,
he won't mind.
He'll love it. He'll love it. But I watched 2 different email masterclasses in there with 2 different people, 2 very different people, but massively changed the way I do my email marketing. And, I could have paid for one of James Smith's fancy courses and probably not learned half the amount.
And it would have cost you a lot more.
It would have cost me a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
But I've been on the community call with some people and we've done breakout rooms. I've been chatting to them and they're like, oh, have you done any masterclasses? I'm like, yeah, I've done fucking loads. They're like, well, I've never done any. How long have you been in the Holt? 18 months. What? How have you not done any masterclasses? You must have done. They're like, oh, I just haven't got around to it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like there's so much, but you don't have to, like, the
thing is, because there's so much that people get overwhelmed when they join. They're like, I don't know where to start. But the thing is, we only charge £65 a month. So if you go into the community, like, for example, Michelle Hartley did this the other day. She had a tech issue and she went in and she said, oh, I've got this problem. Does anyone know how to do this? And someone else said, yeah, cool. I'll jump on a call with you first thing in the morning. We'll get it sorted. They did. That's her fee for the month. Done. Because if she paid a tech person to fix that for her, that would have cost her twice her monthly membership.
Yeah.
Just for like a minimum call out type job.
Yeah.
So that one question, she's got her money's worth. Whether she watches a masterclass, whether she comes to any calls, where she comes, doesn't matter. So it's one of those things where people go, oh my God, I'm paying for this. I need to use everything. It's like, no. The value, one masterclass a month, you've got your value. Come to a few community calls. You've spent what you would going out for a meal with a friend, but you've probably come back way more like intellectually and socially nourished because these are new people and you're building relationships with potential referrers and collaborators, potentially clients. So I think people get too like, oh God, I'm paying for this. I have to use everything. It's like, no, you don't need to use everything. You just need to get your money's worth. And it could be one question that 4 coaches comment on, give you loads of really amazing advice. And you go, fuck me, I would have paid a coach £500 for an hour of their time to get that kind of advice. And I've just got it for free or for £65 monthly fee.
Yeah. I think it's interesting as well because I'm a little bit like you in person. I'm quite loud and I'm
much
quite
taller.
I'm much taller. Although when I very first met you in person was at Atomicon, you came across the room like I can only describe as Tigger from Winnie the Pooh, and you were like bounce, bounce, bounce. You went, are you a hugger? And at that point, I think I was actually giving you a hug. I was like, oh my God.
Sorry about that. I get quite excited at these things.
I love a hug, but one thing that really like I loved about that particular event is the fact that it's something else that I'd already signed up to, but then I realized that other people from the Holt were going, and then there was like a community meet up with the Holt, and there was like 50 odd people from the Holt there. And
there was over 50 of us at Atomicon.
And the same with Ideas Fest. I walked in with 3 Holties in the morning because we all kind of agreed to meet in the morning. I never saw them again for 2 days, but we all started off together. And I think that was like the beautiful thing of it all. It was like that whole, like almost like you kind of go in holding hands and then you can let go if you need to, but you know everyone's around. And the amount of times I'd go past your tent and get covered in bubbles at Ideas Fest, it was ridiculous. But I just think that's amazing that it's not just in the community online like a Facebook group. A Facebook group to me is quite dull, quite boring. But for what you provided and where it takes it, it's also, you know, you go to this event if other Holties are there, and there's people that are putting stuff on
as well, didn't we? At Ideas Fest, we all went out, like a group of us went out for dinner the night before, which was really lovely. And it's just like, I love seeing it because you'll see people that they've only met like occasionally maybe on a community call, or they've communicated a little bit in the whole, or some that just never show up in the community at all, but they're part of it and they'll come along to an event. And it doesn't matter because people still greet each other as if they're old friends. And like at the Christmas party this year, we had a few people that
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Sorry. But we had a few people that come along that they never go to networking events, and they certainly never would go to them on their own. And they did come along on their own. And the first thing they said when they walked into the room and started talking to people was, oh, I'm a bit nervous. I've not been to anything like this before. And the other person goes, oh yeah, me too. I've come on my own, and boom, best friends. Suddenly they're doing the Macarena on the dance floor drunk. Yeah. Like spin it with their shoes off. And you're like that's real connection. And I think the lesson that I've learned since being so present on LinkedIn is humor, shared values, and honesty builds the best kind of connections. And those beautiful connections blossom in to incredible business relationships because there is so much trust. And I make so many referrals to people in the Holt, hence the directory. I make so many connections between people within the Holt. And I love being able to do that. But it comes because I trust them. And I know there's that level of accountability as well. Like if somebody comes to them through the directory via the Holt brand or via my brand, they're going to want to do a good job.
Yeah.
Because they know that my brand's on the line.
Yeah.
As well. So
Yeah, and I
not
think
that I doubt
that,
any of them, but do you know what I mean?
no, but because it is so personable and it's so there's so much connection within the whole, I do think it's not like, you know, you've signed up to, you know, for example, LinkedIn, and you're being referred by LinkedIn or something like that, or in another community, where this is like, it's such a tight knit kind of community. Obviously you have your rules of entry, which is my favorite rule of entry. I think that's why I joined, actually, just to test to see if I was
What?
actually
Not a knob.
actually a knob or not. My daughter actually wore her
I love
wristband.
it.
Yeah, she was wearing that, and I was like, please wear that to school. That would be so funny.
Well, this is why I've got that side
Yeah.
that Thomas made me with his I've got mini ones as well. Look.
Amazing.
He made them with his what's it called?
3D printing.
Yeah, 3D printer. Like, yeah, I mean, I feel like I got 500 new friends running the Holt. I literally feel like I get paid to have fun with my mates. And I go to something like Ideas Fest where I'm literally messing around with my friends and calling it work and having the best time. I'm like, this is wild. Like, I get paid to do this.
One thing I should also mention at Ideas Fest, you were barely at your stand, but like everyone knew where your stand was. It was like Lea was like off there.
No, every time I went anywhere, I got stopped by like 100 people for conversations, and I couldn't, like, I barely ate the whole week, the whole couple of days, because it took me about an hour to get to the toilet. I'd decide I needed to go to the toilet, and then I'd get stopped by so many people. I was like, I was loving it and really enjoying it, but it was like, no, I actually do have to go now, or there will be an accident. So do excuse me. But yeah, I mean, it was so much fun. I can't wait for this year.
Yeah,
absolutely can't wait.
Yeah, and do you know what's funny? You just said something there where a few people said to me, "Oh, what talks did you watch?" I went, "I think I watched 3 talks."
Did you go to mine?
Yeah, of course I did. Didn't you say fuck Trump or something?
That was so much fun. I literally went in the middle of the talk, but luckily it was very well received by the audience, and I knew it would be.
That's fine. I think it's a worldwide opinion anyway. Lea, just tell me then, how can people join the Holt? Because I know that you can't just walk in, right?
They have to bribe you with a large sum of money to let them in the back door.
Wow. I'm having flashbacks.
No, in reality, yes, you can message Andy, and if Andy can verify you're not a knob, he can get you in via Backdoor Barry, who is our fictional AI security guard, who I've actually found a real life version of now. And
adopted.
I've basically adopted him, and got his approval to use his image in all of our marketing material. So you can sign up at the-holt.com to our waiting list if you don't know Andy, and then we'll email you when we're opening the doors, which we are opening the doors again mid-January, in time for our new LinkedIn mastermind that we're running, a 4-week LinkedIn mastermind from the 19th of January. You can also join the mailing list to come along to one of our speed networking events. We open up spaces to non-members every month to come along and check us all out, meet us, see how mental we all are and how much fun and friendly, and come along there absolutely free. You can come to the first session absolutely free. So yeah.
And one thing I just want to point out before we finish there is that you went from LinkedIn training, charging a shit ton of money for LinkedIn training. Your last ever LinkedIn training is in the Holt.
Yeah. And my digital course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the digital course that I used to charge 300 odd pounds for, that's in there. So if you sign up for a month for 65 quid, just do that and fuck off. You've already got your money's worth.
But once you're in, you don't leave.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's usually the feedback is people don't like to leave, and people only leave when budget, and when it's no longer relevant because they've gone back to work, or they just don't have time. Those are the only reasons people never leave and say, I didn't get value from it, or
no.
I didn't enjoy it. Like I'm struggling financially. I'm going back into a job, or I'm just too busy to make use of it at the moment and it's a distraction, which is fine. Don't take that personally.
I love that. Lea, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to everything that happens in the Holt this year. I know Ideas Fest, Atomicon. You're going to, what's the big festoon as well, aren't you?
I'm speaking at the big festoon in March.
Amazing.
I know, so, that's scary.
But more often than not, when I finish a conversation with someone on a podcast, I'll say, look forward to catching up with you soon. I'm like, actually, I'm jumping on a masterclass in 25 minutes and you're on it.
So I'll see you very, very soon.
So I'll see you in 25 minutes. Thanks, Lea. You're an absolute superstar. And I'll put all your links and everything in the show notes below.
Thanks, Andy. It's been a pleasure. See you later.
And that wraps up today's episode of the Coffee, Chaos and Confidence podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you like and subscribe. It helps other listeners find the show. Also, go and check out the show notes to learn more about my incredible guests. Until next time, make sure you chase your dreams without limitations.